Hi, welcome to Owl About Yarn, episode 3. Today is the 2nd of May 2015. I'm Jenny, also known on Ravelry as Jenster79, and pretty much everywhere else, Etsy, Twitter, Instagram, where else? Facebook as Owl About Yarn. I'd like to welcome you if you have already watched one of my episodes. And if it's your first time, thank you ever so much for taking the time to sit down and share my knitting and spinning stories today. So, it's only been a week since the last one, but I thought rather than go fortnightly and have really long podcasts, I'd like to try weekly and keep them shorter, so they're just the sort of length of time where you might have a nice cup of tea and a sit down in between doing your jobs. There are quite a lot of podcasts out there that seem to go over the hour mark at the moment, and I decided that I didn't want to add to that number because I don't want to take viewers away from one of the other podcasts, so I'm going to try and stick to about 25 minutes maybe. We'll see how long this goes and then I'll work it out from there. So today's sections include works in progress, finished items, out and about, acquisitions, plans, shop news, and then loose ends, which will just round everything up and cover anything that doesn't really come into the other sections. So to start off with, I decided that I really should wear something hand knitted every week, just to show that I do actually knit and that I do get things finished, because I haven't been getting a lot finished this past couple of weeks while I've been podcasting. So I'm pulling out some older finish objects to show you. So this week I am wearing my In the Land of Oz shawl, which is by, I've got all the notes written down here, it's by Adrienne Fong, it's on Ravelry. I knitted it a year ago, so I apologise, I really don't remember if it's a paid for pattern or not. But it's knitted out of Lang Yarn's Yawol Magic Degradé, and it took just under a skein, comfortably under a skein, 82 grams, so, or 328 metres. So it's a nice little shawl. It took me less than a month, but I do think I spent quite a lot of time knitting it. I really like the striping. It's my happy shawl. So if I need cheering up, I bring this out of the cupboard and put it on. Not that I need cheering up today, I'm in a good mood, feeling quite happy, but I thought it'd brighten things up. And I've been a bit rushed doing other things, so I haven't bothered with the shawls on the backdrop today. I'm hoping eventually to find a nice place in my house which looks nice behind me already. Now, the story behind the green curtain, just going off topic before we get to works in progress, is that I'm sitting in my bedroom, all the children are downstairs, nicely occupied, as it's a Saturday afternoon. The boys are introducing my 2-year-old to Star Wars. She's never seen Star Wars, and she chose a birthday card for my 11-year-old Ben with Yoda on the front, and she will persist on calling him the little green goody. And so they decided to show her one of the films so that she'd understand that he has a name other than the little green goody. So they're all nicely occupied downstairs, keeping out of my way doing that, and quiet. And my husband's down there with them as well, so he'll stop them from rushing up the stairs and coming and joining in. But behind the curtain is the wardrobe where I keep all of my wool, but it's got a mirrored door. And I thought, you don't really want to see the reflections of the back of my head. So I thought I'd cover it over, and I found this green curtain, and I thought, well, green's quite a nice calming colour. And I really should have ironed it, but it was kind of a last minute thought when I did last week's podcast, and then it went out of my head before this week's podcast. And the one thing I do remember telling you last week was that I have the memory of a fruit fly, and that hasn't changed. So this has just been folded up on my spare bed all week. And then I suddenly realised, oh my goodness, I've got to cover this over. Right, grab it, chuck it up there. So I apologise for the creases. Anyway, moving into the first section, the first proper section, which is works in progress. I've not got a lot this week. I have worked on my socks. So in my bag I made myself with a little flowers, and there's owls on this, and well, there's an owl on that side. A lady on Instagram was having a fabric de-stash last year, and I saw the owl fabric, and I thought, well, I've just got to have that, haven't I? So, I've finished one sock. That's such an unflattering view, isn't it? Another job on my to-do list is to make myself some sock blockers, so that when I show you these things, that they look beautiful. And I've got a tutorial on how to make some, so I really need to get around to that as well. There's so many things to do, and so little time to do it in, especially when you want to be knitting and spinning. It all takes away from the time. Anyway, so that is my first finished sock of this pair of Hermione's Everyday Socks. Can you see the sparkle? Does the light catch that? No, not really. Never mind. And then I made a start yesterday on the second one, and mainly when I took my son to tennis, because I get to sit in a cafe for an hour while he's having his lesson. So I sat and knitted on the cuff of that. So the cuff's done, and I've just started on the pattern, and I've put a little marker in this morning so that by the end of the day I can see how much progress I've made. Obviously not a lot has been done on this so far. I've been spinning, which I'll show you in a minute because I'm really pleased with that. So my other sock whip is a little bit smaller. It's a baby sock. Oh, so cute. So this is really little, as you can see. I've nearly finished it. I'm up to the ribbing on it, and I don't know anybody having a baby, especially nobody who would like a pair of baby socks in navy blue, green and pink. This is my yarn, Owl About Yarn Sparkle Owl, on the Evening Gowns colourway, and it's a self-striping. On adult socks, obviously the stripes would be much narrower. I think I mentioned last week that my ambition is to get to Wonderwool and have my own stand. And so I want to work on display items. And I saw somebody had some bunting made out of baby socks, and I thought, well, that's just the cutest little thing. So I've shamelessly stolen the idea, and I'm going to knit some socks with scraps of my yarn. So this will be good because I had quite a lot left of this one. Here we are. When I finished whatever I made with it. I don't think this was my stitch surfers. I can't remember what I used that for. But I had a lot left, so I knew I had plenty to make a sock, and then I'll weigh it and I'll know how much I'll need of all the other yarns then. Because obviously I'm doing my blanket as well with the yarns that I dye. And that is in my sock bag, which is such a cute little drawstring bag from starknits.etsy.com, and I'll put a link in my show notes because she does the loveliest bags. They're very reasonably priced. The workmanship is brilliant. Inside it's got a little pocket if you wanted to put some stitch markers or notes or something. You know, there's just a couple of little pockets or a darning needle or anything, and it easily fits a cake of yarn and a sock project. And then it's got a little drawstring bag with a toggle, and also a little keyring loop. So I tend to put a lanyard clip on that, and then I clip it onto the table next to where I sit because it's got a funny wire thing around the back of it. And then it doesn't get lost. Or you could clip it to your bag when you're going out so that it's always there, or you could clip it to your belt if you wanted to be standing up, if you were queuing or taking your kids to a match or something and you wanted to stand and knit, because some of us do that. So, but they're great bags, and I will link to it in the show notes. They're my only knitting works in progress this week, although I have now swatched for my Tonks Togs jumper, and the swatch, as usual, came out way too big. I had to go down 2 needle sizes from 6mm to 5mm in order to get gauge, otherwise this jumper would just have been enormous and a complete waste of my time. So, but I got gauge dead on with the 5mm needles, so hopefully I'll be starting that this week. And that's going to be lots of cables. I'm glancing that way because my fiber's over there that I'm going to grab next. But yeah, so the Tonks Togs, that's going to be lots of cables, all sorts of flowing up. But it's not traditional cables on a pearl, standing out in relief on a pearl background. It's cables on stocking stitch background. So they just sort of flow. It's supposed to look like water or waves or something rippling up the jumper. So I think it's going to be really nice, and the fabric feels really nice, as if it's going to be a very cosy and warm jumper when it's knitted up. So that'll be great. I just have a mouthful of tea. Oh, it's getting really dry. Spinning. I've been working hard today. I'm podcasting a little bit later in the day than I wanted to. It's 10 to 6, so we'll be going and having our dinner soon. But I really wanted to finish this first bobbin so that I could show it to you, because I was so pleased. I started spinning it yesterday, and I'm so pleased with how it's spinning up, and I wanted to be able to show it to you and show off and tell you how wonderful Sarah's Texture Crafts fibre is, so that you go out and buy it if you're a spinner. It's totally worth it. So anyway, yeah, I'm calming down now, So here, is my first finished bobbin with about 50 grams on. Look at that, it's beautiful. And I'm not the most experienced spinner, and I'm not showing off, but it's quite even, and that's more down to the quality of the fibre, I think, because it was so easy to draft. So I'm really pleased with that. Here's the fibre. The other 50 grams, which I'll start spinning later or tomorrow probably. You don't get on that bobbin the turquoise, because the turquoise is all hidden underneath. For some reason it came out. I did it at the beginning. But yeah, that's this. Oh, there's a little bit there, yeah. But it looks sort of paler. It looks white, doesn't it? But it isn't. It's a kind of minty, very pale turquoise sea foam. I've seen it called sea foam. So this is a Polworth fibre, and I think I showed it to you last week after I came back from Wonderwool. And this is the first Wonderwool fibre that I'm spinning up, and it is just gorgeous. So the colourway is Precious Rock, and as I say, it's Sarah's Texture Crafts, and it's 100 grams. I'm going to 2-ply it. I'm hoping it'll come out about... I'm not really experienced enough to guess yet, but I think it's probably going to be about sport weight. I'm not 100% sure on that yet, but we'll see. So that will be finished by next week, because there's so much that I want to spin that I am spending quite a lot of my crafting time doing that. So my evenings are going into that, and it really helps me relax, because if I've got any tension in my shoulders or my arms, I have to let it go or I can't spin, because I get all clenched up and then I can't draft smoothly, and so I have to let it go and let it relax. So if my 2-year-old is having a bit of a temper tantrum sort of a day, I have to just put it behind me and move on. Otherwise it's rubbish. Let me just put this over here. So that is my works in progress. I only have one finished item, and that's spinning, because I had to get this off the wheel so that I could move on to my Sarah's Texture Crafts fibre. So this is my own fibre, Owl About Yarn, Blueface Leicester, and it's Fields of Green. And it's a gradient fibre, which I dyed up myself. Now, do you remember last week I told you I bought a book at Wonderwool from the lady who runs Sarah's Texture Crafts, Sarah Millis? Well, I left it over here. Here's the book. How to Design, Spin and Knit with Gradient Tops. I haven't read it properly, but I have had a quick read of it today, and I learnt something on page 4. So it's pretty good, pretty good. It's that my fibre is a progressive gradient, because a progressive gradient is a dye technique that starts with one colour at one end and then suddenly changes into a secondary colour at the other end. So while they were all greens and related to each other, it didn't fade from one colour into the other, there were blocks of colour. So it's a progressive gradient. So you see, I learnt something new. So it goes from this grass green, this light grass green, through a dark grass green, or like a hunter green, which, why does it look blue? I've had this thing on Instagram all week trying to get it to be the right colour. Anyway, I thought it was going to be sport weight, because that seems to be what I spin. But this has poofed up so dramatically, I think it might even be a worsted weight or even an Aran. So I've no idea what I'm going to do with this. I might put it in the shop, but it's so squishy and smooshy and lofty. It would be so warm, because it'll hold so much heat in it, I reckon, in the fibres. It'd just be lovely. And this is Navajo plied, so it's a 3-ply. So it should be good and strong. But yeah, I was really pleased with this. If I shake it out, I'll show you. You can see the stripes a bit better if I... hang on, where are we? I did this for a photo the other day and it's really not working very well now. Can you see any better with that? You can see that there are quite distinct colours. No, my screen's not liking it today. Maybe it'll come out better on the film, but the monitor's not doing a very good job for me today. So that's my only finished object. The next section is out and about. This week it was good weather towards the beginning of the week. It was still really nice, but then by the time we got to the end of the week and today, it's now raining and miserable. Looking out the window, it's just grey and dreary and drab. It's been raining for most of the day. It's a bank holiday weekend for those of you who aren't in the UK. That means we have a long weekend. It's the May Day bank holiday on Monday. Everybody's home from work and school. Not everybody. My lot home from work and school. All the schools are shut anyway, but what I mean is shops are still open and that, and nurses still have to work obviously, and people like... Anyway, and of course it's raining, and it's forecast to rain for the whole weekend and then most of the week afterwards. So it's going to be an at-home bank holiday weekend. There won't be any trips. Luckily I saw the weather forecast, and so last Thursday Erin and I decided that we would go out. I was going to go to Kevnon Park, which is a lovely sort of wild arboretum type place in the north of Cardiff. But then I remembered that they have fantastic magnolia trees, and it's not quite time for the magnolias to be flowering. And quite lucky, my next door neighbour has an enormous magnolia bush in the back garden, so I'm going to keep an eye on that. And when hers starts flowering, then we'll plan a trip up and we'll go and have an explore, and I'll get some pictures and show you, because it's really pretty. I mean, you've got these magnolia trees, and I don't know how long they've been there, but they're sort of 20-30 feet tall and just covered in flowers. They're just beautiful. So instead we went the other way, and we went down to Newport and we went to visit Tredegar House. Tredegar House is a National Trust property, and we've been to Tredegar Park many times. It's a lovely... There's the public park, which is a lovely big field with trees and shrubs and things all around it, and there's a lake. So it's a nice place to just go for a good walk, or if you want the kids to run off some energy. But then, and the National Trust owns it all, so that part is... Do they own it or do they run it? I've got a feeling that Newport City Council own it. And then, but then there's the house and the gardens, which you have to pay to get into, or you have to be a National Trust member. And we decided to join the National Trust last summer, and we had loads of day trips to various properties. But we'd never actually, bizarrely enough, been to the one nearest to us, which is Tredegar House, to go actually around the house. We went in the house briefly at Christmas time, and saw Father Christmas, and Erin got a present from him. But we didn't do a tour of the house or go and explore or anything, because it was really, really busy that day, and by the time we'd been through the queue and waited to see Father Christmas, we just wanted a cup of tea, so we came away and left that for another day. So I decided that it would be a brilliant opportunity to go look around, see the house on a quiet day, have a nice look at all the spring bulbs in the gardens, and then come home in time for lunch and nap. We ended up having lunch there, which was really nice, in the little cafe. They do nice food in there. And we had a lovely explore around the house. It was used as a school after the Second World War. St Joseph's boarding school, or convent school, was there for a while. So they've kept one of the rooms looking like a schoolroom, and they've got displays with photos of past pupils and an old ink jar and some school books and things like that, which was really interesting to see. And Erin's wandering around saying, well, who sits here and who sits there and why is that desk so high? Just explaining to her, well, that's the teacher's desk so that she can see all of the children in the class, and that's a blackboard because she'd never seen one before, and you use chalk like you've got for the pavement outside to write on that. So she thought this was all fantastic. And then they had another room where all there was, it was empty of furniture, but they got a big dressing up box full of children's dresses from sort of the turn of the century, I think, and various different points in time. So I managed to persuade Erin to try one on, and I got a photo with a bonnet. So I'll be putting that, as well as a little video in a minute. I'll pause the video, put that in, and then come back. And what else did we see? Well, the good thing about Tredegar House is that when you go to a lot of these stately homes, it's very much keep your hands to yourself, don't touch anything, so when you've got kids, I'm lucky, mine do all behave. If they don't behave, they go on reins, and I will even threaten my 14-year-old with reins if he doesn't behave himself. So, but they've all been brilliant all the time, and they're very good about staying next to me and not running off. So, but Tredegar House, they've put in, what's the name? Sort of copies of the furniture that would have been there, so that you can actually sit on the chairs. There's a day bed that you can lie on and look at the ceiling in a room where they've painted these beautiful paintings on the ceiling, so you can actually lie on the bed to look at it. They've set out a plastic wedding feast from the early 1700s in the dining room, so you can sit down and pretend that you're at this wedding feast, and it's really lovely. They like the kids to interact and have a go. Anyway, I'm going to stop talking quite so much about Tredegar House, and I'm going to put a video in of Erin just telling you where we are, and some pictures. So that'll be here, and I'll see you again in a minute. Hello. What were you going to say to the people in the camera?
Tredegar House.
We're at Tredegar House, and you were going to tell them your name.
Yeah.
So what's your name?
Erin.
Erin. And how old are you?
2 months old.
Not 2 months old, 2 years old.
2 years old.
Yeah, nearly 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nearly 3 months.
3 years old. So we are at Tredegar House today.
Yeah.
And it's been quite sunny, but the sun's gone behind a cloud at the moment, which is good. It's better for taking a video. So Erin,
Yeah.
we've seen lots of things today, haven't we?
Yeah.
What have we seen?
Golden.
The gardens. Come up, I can't see you.
And some flowers.
And some flowers.
And a tractor. And a tractor.
And a tractor. Yeah. I can't hear you because you're not looking at the camera.
It's like a lawnmower.
It is like a lawnmower, yeah.
Mummy,
Yeah.
should we go to that bench?
You want to change benches?
Yeah.
Well, why don't we go and have a look inside the house?
But it's not open yet.
It is open because it opened at 11 o'clock.
Hello, my name is Evan. We have to see the house. I'm 2 months old.
You're not 2 months old. You're 2 years old.
And I'm going to be 3 months old as well.
You're going to be 3 years old.
And we have to dig a house.
Yeah.
Like, Mummy, can we just play in the garden?
I expect so. And what are we going to go and look at in the lake? Do you remember?
Baby swans.
Baby swans!
Mummy?
How many baby swans did the man say they got?
8.
8 baby swans. Yeah.
Mummy,
Wave and say bye-bye so that we can go in the house.
bye-bye.
Give the people in my camera a wave. Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed your little tour. I don't think I took that many pictures, but it was just so beautiful there. I was going to take my video camera because I've got a proper video camera. I'm using my tablet's camera to record my podcast at the moment, but I'm hoping to link my video camera up to the TV so that I can video myself in future and maybe it'll be better quality. Maybe I'll get the colours a bit better when I'm trying to show you yarns and fibre and such like. Anyway, next topic is acquisitions, and I've been lucky this week, so I've got a few things to show you. First of all, I got some yarn in the mail from Sarah on Ravelry. I'm in a group called the Harry Potter Knit and Crochet House Cup on Ravelry, which is every bit as geeky as it sounds, but also it's a wonderful community of people. It's such a supportive group. They enable you no end to build up your stash, build up your library of patterns and actually get things done. The encouragement to finish projects is phenomenal. My productivity has increased so much in the 4.5 years that I've been a member of that group. Because you have to finish items to earn points for your house to try to win the House Cup. And I'm Gryffindor head girl, so I have to set a good example. So, last term there was a sock study hall, and I knitted some socks. So, Sarah, oh, there are children running around outside. Our names were all put in a drawer, mine was drawn out, and Sarah sent me some yarn, which I've never seen before, so I was so thrilled with that. And look at these lovely bright colours. It's gorgeous. It's just, oh, I love bright colours. I love proper strong colours. So this is brilliant for me. This is fantastic. And so as you saw, it's knit 1, crochet 2, and tie-dye socks, 80% superwash wool, 20% nylon. And I nearly cast on yesterday because I was desperate to see how this comes out. But I managed to hold off when I remembered I was going to podcast, which is another good reason I'm podcasting this week, not next week. And I'm going to knit J. Walker socks on 2mm needles. And J. Walker, I knew somebody once called J. Walker, and so for ages I would call this pattern J. Walker socks, and then it suddenly occurred to me, no, it's J. Walker, like jaywalking across the road in America, because we don't get that here. Not always, sandwich short of a picnic, that's me. So, Jaywalker Socks by Grumperina on Ravelry. It's a free pattern, it's a very popular pattern. And I went on to Ravelry, searched for this yarn, and then I looked to see what socks had already been made from it, and that was the pattern that came up, and I thought, yes, that will show off these colours brilliantly, because it has a zigzag stripe pattern. So hopefully I'll finish my Hermione's Everyday Socks and cast these on, and I'll have something to show you next time I podcast. So I was really thrilled with that, and I can't wait to show her what I've knit up, because she's doing the sock study hall this term as well. So I'll be able to get in there with my Jaywalker socks and show her her yarn that she sent to me. The second thing, we had knit night on Thursday. We have knit night every Thursday, but this Thursday was special because it was the 5th Thursday in the month, and so we didn't have a set place to go, because for the 1st, 2nd, 3rd and 4th we have set places to go every month. But the 5th Thursday is a movable feast, and so we decided about a year and a half ago to have Pudding Club, where we bring cakes and sweets and savouries and all sorts of yummy things, and usually it's hosted in one of our houses. And my friend Zoe hasn't been able to get to knitting recently, so she had it at her house, and it was lovely. It was really, really lovely. There were a bunch of us there all sat around her kitchen table eating cake and biscuits and drinking pots and pots of tea and having such a good laugh. Anyway, she gave me this book, Start Spinning, and I think it's going to be great because I know how to spin, I can draft fairly evenly, and I can produce a reasonable yarn, but I don't know the names of a lot of the techniques. I don't know a lot about the different fibres that you can use. I mean, this Polworth is the first time I'm using Polworth. Before that, I've only ever spun Blueface Leicester or Merino or a Merino blend. So I'm hearing about things like Corriedale and Targhee, silk hankies, you know, all these things that I've never tried. So I think this book is going to be great just to expand my knowledge base for spinning, so I was so thrilled to get that. Where can I put it? Put it on the floor. The next one isn't knitting related or yarn related or anything related really, but it's so cute I had to show you anyway. So my little girl's having her birthday in a couple of weeks, and she loves the Mr. Men, and when I was reading her a Mr. Men story, I noticed in the back page an advert for a personalised Mr. Men book. I don't think she's upstairs, so I think we're alright. I don't think she'll have heard that. But look! I sent off for it, and here it is! Oh, how cute is that? So I was able to obviously specify her name, and then I got to choose the hair, the t-shirt colour, the trousers, to make it look as much like her as possible. So I was really thrilled to bits when that came, and then it's got a lovely little story and she's on every page, and oh, she's going to think that was wonderful. So I can't wait to give that to her in a couple of weeks' time. My last acquisition is my fat fibre box. Yeah, see this? Customs fee to pay. That is a sore point. Do you know, in the UK, if we buy something from outside the European Union and it costs more than £15, which really isn't a lot, I think I worked out it's about 23 American dollars, we have to pay a customs fee, a tax, and I don't know what percentage it is. I haven't worked it out. It's probably about 90% or so. But so you have to pay, no matter, even if the thing is just 50p over the limit, you have to pay an £8 handling fee to the post office for bringing this into the country, and then there's the tax on top of that. So this fat fibre box retails at $36, and I had to pay £14.95 to bring it into the country. Really, government? Really? A £15 limit? I can't buy any of the nice self-striping yarns I see in America, like Desert Vista Dye Works, Cuppy Cake Yarns, Biscotte C. I mean, that's Canada, but it's still outside the EU, so, you know. But all over the world, you know, all these things all over the world, and I see all these gorgeous yarns on Instagram and I can't buy them because it would cost far too much. It would nearly double the price of it all by the time I've paid for postage and packaging, which postage is another anyway, and then a customs import tax. Why does it have to be so low? Ugh. Anyway, I'm not going to show you everything I got in the Fat Fibre box because there are lots and lots of samples and I'm already longer than I thought I was going to be. But I'll just show you a few bits and pieces of fibre. So this is Willow Fairy wool, and it's 36% alpaca, 36% llama, 25% merino and 3% gold Angelina. And yeah, it's sort of a greyish, brownish, fawnish colour with gold sparkles running through it. So, and then I got a little rolag from the Bearded Chicken, and that's merino, and the colourway is Flashpoint. I quite like that. That's nice strong colours. See? Blends in, doesn't it? Where's another one? Debbie's Hand Spun. I don't know if you'll see that through the bag. That's gorgeous, nice strong colours as well. And I think that's another rolag. I haven't had it out of the bag yet. But and that's wool and viscose blend. This one feels gorgeous. I think it's the only fibre sample that wasn't in a bag. But oh, it's port fibre. Now, I'm not good at my US states. So which one is ME? Portland ME. I don't know which state that is. I should do. I'll think about it. So anyway, this is hand dyed 50% silk, 50% yak. And I've never seen yak fibre before, or yak anything. But oh my goodness, it's so soft and gorgeous. Oh, beautiful. And finally, the last one that I'll show you is a fellow Brit. Well, I don't know if she's British, but I know she lives in Britain. She's in London. Porpoisefur.com. And this is on Shetland, which is another fibre I haven't spun. And it's called Golden Mean. So I've got some nice fibre samples to spin up. There are some yarn samples as well, but like I say, I'm running a bit long, so I won't share them all with you now. And that is my pile of acquisitions. Moving on, plans. It's getting closer to the John Arbon Mill Open weekend, which is the 16th and the 17th of May 2015 down in Devon. I'm still really excited about that. This week I will be dyeing some of the fibre that I bought from him and spinning it up so that I can make something to take with me so that I can go in a competition for a mill membership and find out more about that as well when I get there as well. Crafting plans, I want to finish spinning the Polwarth and ply it, wash it, thwack it, dry it, etc. I want to finish knitting my Hermione's Everyday Socks because they've been on the needles for an awfully long time now and I need them out of the way. I can't decide whether to finish the Hermione's Everyday Socks before I start the Jaywalker socks because I do have enough needles to do both and I really can't decide whether I should finish one before I start the other. If I don't finish the Hermione's Everyday, I'm worried that they're going to drag out for weeks and weeks and weeks, especially if I really enjoy watching the stripes come together. Anyway, and also the Bon Bon Bunny by Susan Claudino. I bought the pattern, so I have the pattern in my Ravelry library and I've downloaded it onto my tablet, so I have no excuse not to knit it now. The only excuse I do have is that the eyes I ordered haven't arrived yet, so I'm keeping everything crossed that they arrive this week so that I can start knitting. Well, I can start knitting without the eyes, but it's supposed to be quite a quick knit, so I don't want to get so far and then have to stop because I haven't got the eyes to put in. So hopefully they'll arrive this week and then I'll be able to knit the bunny up. First of many, I'm sure, because they're so cute. And that's all my crafting plans really for this week, other than I might carry on with and cast on that Tongs Togs. We'll see. I'm losing my shawl. In shop news, I am going to be stocking up on mini skeins this week. I've noticed they're running a bit low. I think I've only got one set, or one, sort of colourway anyway at the moment of mini skeins in the shop. So I've gathered an armful of skeins. I'll show you. I can't get them all, but look, there's some of them. And then I've got some more here and here. Lots. Did I drop one? Lots and lots of skeins, which I'll be splitting up into mini skeins and then putting into sets of 5. So hopefully they'll be in the shop fairly soon. However, I did show you those frog stitch markers last week and they still haven't gone in the shop yet. So that's naughty Jenny, and I really need to get into that. I have been making some more stitch markers this week, so I thought I'd show you some of them. Look at these. These are so cute. There's a very talented lady I found on eBay who makes these out of Fimo, what is it, polymer modelling clay I think it's called. Fimo's the brand name. Look at these little slices of cake, and a little cupcake as well. They're so cute, so they had to come and live with me and become stitch markers. So I think I've got 5 sets of these in varying colours. I think the cupcakes are all different colours, but then I've got the same slices of cake. And then the other thing that I bought from her that was a complete impulse buy, if I can pick them up on my knitting needle. No, they don't want to come up. Okay, well I'll get some of them. Cadbury's cream eggs. Look at them. How could I resist them? And they've actually got the little yolk in the middle. Oh, she's so clever. I couldn't do this. So it's just as well I found a lady who could, and then I've made them into stitch markers. So that's really cool. So they're my Fimo ones. These ones, I saw the charms for sale and they made me think of Tilly Trout. Have you watched the Tilly Trout podcast? She's lovely. You really should watch it if you haven't. She's based in Norfolk, and it's just a lovely watch. It feels like having a friend in the room. And these made me think of her because she's often talking about her gardening. Oh, flower pot's turned round. So yeah, I saw these and I thought of her. So maybe I'll see if I can send her a set or something, because she's been talking, in her latest podcast she was talking about the work she'd been doing in her garden. And then I have some fairly regal stitch markers with crowns and sparkly jewels. I like them. I love those sparkly beads. I love all the colours you can get them in. These beads, I always use stitch markers with these beads on my projects, so yeah, I really, really like them. And then I've always got Doctor Who inspired stitch markers in my shop, because living in Cardiff, how can I not? I mean, how can I not be a fan? So this is in homage to my favourite Doctor, the 10th Doctor, and it's the episode, the Christmas Invasion, where he, the 10th Doctor's first episode, which is a Christmas special, and these stitch markers are going to be called "And This Hand's a Fighting Hand," because it's when he battles the Sycorax. So we've got a sword, got a rose for Rose Tyler, we've got a little police box, a red Converse trainer, and this little, that looks like a sonic screwdriver charm at the end. And there's many more stitch markers that I've been making, but I'm not going to show them all because we'd be here all day. So they'll all be in the shop. I'm saying they will be in the shop. I'm aiming to have them in the shop this week. Fingers crossed. And that's my shop news. So, just looking at my list, we're into the very last segment, loose ends. And there aren't really any, because I was going to talk to you about the Harry Potter Knitting and Crochet House Cup, but I've kind of already done that. So I might mention that now and again through future podcasts. We've just started a new term. Each term's 3 months long. And I am going to be knitting the Tonks Togs jumper as my OWL, which stands for Ordinary Wizarding Level exam. and that will take me right through until July to finish, because it's supposed to be a project that takes at least 8 weeks, I think. So I've proposed my jumper as a possible item to complete this exam, and I'm waiting to hear back from the professors to let me know that I can do it, and then I'll be knitting that. So there's not really much else to say about that, but go and have a look. If you like Harry Potter and you like knitting and crochet and you like chatting, come and look for us. If you feel like you're a Gryffindor, look for the 7th floor group on Ravelry. The Slytherins are in, I think it's the Snake Pit. The Hufflepuffs are in the Den, and the Ravenclaws are in the Tower, and they're the names of the groups on Ravelry where they do all the chatting. And then the Harry Potter Knitting and Crochet House Cup is where all the classrooms are, and the Great Hall. And yeah, it's a great laugh, and I've met met online some lovely people, and I've actually met some of them in real life. We went to the Harry Potter studio tour last year, and I met a lady from America, and another one from Germany, and another one who has been living in America but she's come back to Britain now. And we had a great day. It was just so nice, the 4 of us wandering around, all knitting obsessed and Harry Potter obsessed. It was fantastic. But yeah, so as I say, if you like Harry Potter and you like knitting and crochet and spinning and whatever else, go find us and say hello. You can find me, as I said at the beginning, on Instagram, Facebook, Etsy, my blog, owlaboutyarn.wordpress.com, where the show notes are, as Owl About Yarn. On Ravelry you can find me as Jenster79. Please come and say hello. I'd love to get to know more of you and get to know who's taking the time to watch me and be able to say thank you. I will see you probably in another week. Hopefully my words are coming out too fast. I'm getting nervous again. Hopefully I'll have made lots of progress on my knitting and spinning project, and I'll be able to show that to you. Have a lovely week. Happy knitting, happy crocheting, happy spinning, happy crafting in general, and happy whatever you're doing. Have a lovely week. I'll speak to you soon. Bye bye.